Welcome back to day 26 of the 100 Horror Films in 31 Days. Got in 5 films today. I'm pounding them out to try to get to the 100 mark. Uh, First up is 19, I believe it's 1987's The Gate. Now, this is a film, one of these kids in peril films where the kids discover basically the gates of hell in a hole in the ground in their suburban neighborhood. Directed by Tibor Takis, who he didn't really do a whole lot. I mean, he ended up doing a lot of Sci-Fi Channel stuff after this. He did I Madman though. I like that one. This is one that I think if you grew up with it, there's nostalgia associated with it. Unfortunately, I was well into my 20s by the time this came out. I never saw it. It doesn't resonate with me, and I just find the kids annoying. I do think the special effects are excellent. Uh, I just it's made for kids. And if you have nostalgia for it as an adult, you're gonna like it. But I don't. So I mean, it's okay, but it's not something I would go back to. I give it a 6 out of 10. This is a Vestron release. I think it's yeah. Actually, is this Vestron? I believe it is. Yeah, number 8 in the series. Okay, next up, I watched 1969's The Cremator, which is a Czech film, and it's a character study about a guy that works. He kind of manages a crematorium. He's well mannered, um, but he slowly goes nuts. He has some. The film is set in and around World War II, and of course the influence of Germany and the Nazis and the purity of people uh, is all a big topic of discussion, and it affects him too. And he slowly becomes mad, thinking that by cremating people, he can release their soul from having to be tortured in real life. He just goes nuts. It's a great character study. Love the film. I give it a 9 out of 10. Criterion has a Blu-ray out on it that I will eventually have to pick up. Definitely, highly recommend it. Technically well done, beautifully shot. No, I just don't have anything bad to say about it. All right, next up we're back to Fu Manchu, and this time we're talking about 1967's The Vengeance of Fu Manchu. Directed by, this time by Jeremy Summers, and stars, of course, Christopher Lee. And this time, his focus is purely to get even with Nayland Smith. He got screwed over by Nayland Smith twice in the first 2 films, and that's his whole goal. But of course, he can't do it in a simple way. It's got to be the most convoluted plot you could come up with, which is he's going to create a twin of Nayland Smith who will commit a murder, and then at the same time, Nayland Smith, the fake Nayland Smith, gets sentenced and hanged for whatever he did. He's going to kill off the real Nayland Smith. I mean, I mean, can it get any more convoluted than that? But it is a lot of fun, and Christopher Lee plays it straight. Uh, Lin Tang is great. She really is carrying these films because Chris Lee is there just to deliver dialogue and deliver direction, but and kind of he's the marionette puppet masters while his minions carry out his evil deeds. Good stuff. I mean, it's fun. I give it a 7 out of 10. Just it's turn your brain off fun. All right. Next up. Now, this is a film I saw in the drive-in when I was a kid, and this is one that I would say analogous to The Gate. I saw it as a kid. It hit me hard, and now, of course, when as an adult, I have nostalgia for it. That's The Creeping Flesh, 1973, directed by Freddie Francis, and of course stars Chris Lee and Peter Cushing. Um, Peter Cushing has gone off to uh, I, I, so I can't remember if it was Africa or New Zealand or where, but he found this prehistoric skull, this prehistoric skeleton he brings back, and he essentially finds out that this is the essence of evil is inhabiting these bones. And then, of course, Christopher Lee is related to Peter Cushing. I think they may be brothers. They're definitely family members. And Chris Lee has been funding Peter Cushing's excursions, and then he cuts him off. Chris Lee is running an asylum, and he's a very narcissistic doctor trying to get published his doctoral degree and dissertation or whatever he's doing, and he and Peter Cushing butt heads quite a bit in this. It's slow. This is one that I think that if you don't have nostalgia for it, you're just going to find this very slow, because the first 70 minutes of this really it's a lot of dialogue, a lot of talking back and forth, and a lot of melodrama. You don't really get any horror until like the last 15 minutes of this thing. But I like it. Like I say, I saw it in a drive-in, and it kind of blew me away as a child, and so I do like it. I give it a 7 out of 10. But similar to The Gate, I think if you didn't grow up with this one, it's probably a 5 or 6 out of 10 for most people. Chris Lee and Peter Cushing are always going to be good in whatever they're in, but there's not a lot of story here, and it's just slow. It's slow and talky, and it's not much going on here. There's melodramatic issues between Peter Cushing and his daughter that they go way deep into. But essentially, it's a good and evil story. That's the bottom line on it. So, yeah, I would like to see this get a Blu-ray at some point. This is a Columbia DVD. It would be nice to see them treat this a little better with some special features and that type of thing. All right, last film up I watched, Fear Street. I think it was 1978's Fear Street. I like this one a lot, much better than the first one. This one continues the witch story, but now you're getting the backstory from the first film about the woman that survived the first attack back at a campground in the 70s. So you get this campground, you get kind of a Jason Voorhees killer type thing going on. I liked all the characters in it. They weren't going for any kind of social justice stuff. Each of the characters was there for a good reason, good characters, good acting. And they didn't, like I said, they didn't force anything like Hollywood loves to do right now, of forcing things onto these films. But I did like it a lot. I give it a 7 out of 10. I can't wait to see the third one, which now goes back to, I think, 1666, to the origins of the witch. So I am going to watch that before this thing wraps up. Okay, well, that's going to do it. 5 films, and appreciate you watching.